And we're recording. So let's try this again. So James, get back on right now. Let's go.
And Sherry
And
was
Sherry.
joining us
Yeah.
too. So try again. Sorry about that.
So if you didn't hear us before, we are experimenting a little bit today. If you're watching on Facebook Live, we have done in the past where Kelsey and I are in the same room, and I have to just use my computer camera, and it looks kind of funny, and I've never really liked it. So we're trying today to do web conferencing and doing it side by side here. So let's see if this works. Somebody is watching right now. Hello, who's watching right now? I want to make sure that this audio is working and everything is looking good before we really start going.
I'm going to delete the original one.
Okay. So we will be podcasting live here with the Saver and the Spender podcast pretty soon. We just want to make sure that everything is looking good, sounding good. So if you are watching us live, please let us know. Say hi. Can you hear us? All that kind of stuff. Anything? Okay. So Megan has joined. Hi, Megan. Can you hear us okay? Let us know if you can hear us and see us and everything's looking and sounding okay. If not, we're going to try something else.
I'll just come in your office if it doesn't work.
Okay. But hi. Okay, she says hi.
Oh, good.
Maybe can you hear us, Megan? There's James. Okay. My old roommate, James. Okay, good. Megan can hear us. Okay, so let's get going. Everybody can hear us back on. James says I think we're good to go.
Good.
We had a little technical difficulties there, operator error. So we will be podcasting live here pretty soon. And I know, James, put in the question you asked a second ago, so I have it on record, and then I'll be able to go back to it later.
Is he putting me on the spot again? He's really good at putting me on the spot.
No, he's great at that.
He's really good at it. So he's going to ask a question that I got to come up with my answer on the spot again, don't I?
And he might be like your substitute podcast host if you're ever gone and we need it, like you're sick or something last minute.
That would be great.
That would be great.
Fill in, James.
Hi, all right. So we are recording audio. We are ready to go.
Ready to go.
Make sure everybody can hear us. Oh, joy. James says, oh, joy. So, where do I want this? Right there. Good morning. It's Friday.
TGIF.
TGIF, which means it's the 15th, so we're 10 days away from Christmas. It's Hanukkah.
Fridays are insane for me. So I always feel like I really need to just stop for a second, switch gears. You know, I have a service where I pay people's bills for them, and a lot of people get paid on Fridays. And so it tends to be I do that on Fridays for them. So it's like I wake up early, I hit the ground running. I've got, a dozen people's bills paid already this morning, but I have to okay, just stop. And now we're just going to talk about money right now. We're just going to have a conversation. So
at least it'll be almost fun.
Yeah. I think it's always fun. So even the paying the bills part is fun for me. It's just I got to keep a quick pace in the morning on Fridays. So.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get started here and start podcasting. But today, if you want to know what we're talking about, we're going to be talking about savings, the best places to get the best interest rate on savings accounts. James, you had asked about liquid alternatives to savings accounts, like where to keep your money if you don't want to put it in the bank, and how to keep it more liquid and that kind of stuff. And I had originally recommended if you want to keep it liquid, you buy a lot of beer and then wine and liquor and Kool-Aid. So,
I'm rolling my eyes.
I felt that. I didn't even look at you, but I felt it. We're going to talk about a budget brag that Tammy has, and Tammy is listening. So, hi, Tammy. Congratulations. We're going to brag on you a little bit. We're going to talk about emergency savings. We're going to our main topic today is going to be on how to stop the madness with overspending. That is one of the three big issues that we see with our clients is overspending, right? And so we're going to talk about that. And we're not even podcasting it. We're just kind of introducing what we're talking about today. So, and then also holiday buying for your kids. So, without further ado, we'll get going. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, great. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 25 of the Saver and the Spender podcast. We have a really, I'm excited about the show, actually. It's going to be good. We're going to be talking about savings and the best place to put your money with the best interest rate, because savings interest rates are like really low compared to when I remember opening my first savings account. How much were they a long time ago? 5%, maybe 3%?
Yeah, I mean, but also debt interest rates were higher too. So a mortgage was 14% as opposed to
Ooh,
what it
yeah.
is now. So, I
True.
mean, yeah.
Different. Yeah. But still interest rates, I mean, you're happy if you're making 1%, I think. So we're going to talk
Yeah.
about the best places to find those. What else are we going to talk about? Emergency savings, how to do emergency savings the right way.
We've got a good rule of thumb for today. We've got a great Carmen's Corner for today, talking about not just savings, but then spending and the behaviors around overspending and what causes us to not treat luxuries like luxuries and that sort of thing. So yeah, lots of really good content for today.
Great. Can you put your microphone a little closer to you?
Yep.
Try that now.
Okay, is that better?
Much better, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We're going to delete that.
Nah, leave it in. It's fine.
But hi, Lexi. So before we get going with the show, we want to talk about some really cool upcoming stuff that we have going on and some ways to be more interactive with the podcast, but also just your personal financial journey yourself. So we have a couple different Facebook groups that we recommend you join. So the first one, a lot of you might be on already, and that is the Saver and the Spender podcast Facebook group. I'll put the link in there, but if you just go into Facebook and search the Saver and the Spender podcast, pay off debt, I think if you put Saver and the Spender, it's going to be the first one that pops up. But I mean, we post a ton in there. There's a lot of good conversations about what we talk about in the podcast, and Kelsey and I answer questions, but also the people and the members in the group also give their feedback if you have a question about your budget or paying off debt. And so it's just a great resource. It's free to join. You just have to ask to join. We automatically will approve you. You're in. So that's one great Facebook group for you to join and just kind of stay in the loop with everything personal finance and the podcast.
Perfect. The other one that we have is a Facebook group dear and near to my heart, which is called Financial Coaches Unite. I created this just a few months ago. For years and years, I've been doing this, and I was the only financial coach that I knew, and I have felt alone in that journey. And now I want it to be where there are more financial coaches in our world. I want there to be more people helping individuals, couples, small business owners better manage their money. And I know some people listen to our podcast or watch us on Facebook and all of that because they, like the cost savings ideas, or they like to talk about money. And some of you do it because you have a passion for your own money, and you really maybe have a desire to help family, friends, strangers better manage their money. And being a financial coach is maybe something that you've mulled over and you're just not sure if it's something you could do. Financial Coaches Unite is a Facebook group. Again, you have to ask to join. You just type in Financial Coaches Unite in Facebook and it will come up. And it's a great place for aspiring and veteran financial coaches. We share ideas. We talk about challenges, both from a business model perspective, but also like the best way we can serve our clients and get the best results with individuals to motivate them, drive them. It can be a really scary thing to figure out, like, how do we start this as a business, or how do we grow as a business owner if we are one already? So whether or not you have a desire to do it as a side hustle, or you have a desire to maybe like leave your full-time gig and do it as a career, either way, Financial Coaches Unite is a really great place to jump in, start talking with other people and really just take the next step in that, journey of yours to be a financial coach. So Financial Coaches Unite, check it out.
And it's been like the conversations on there have been awesome. If you're at all at that point in your life where you want to help people with their money, like everybody is at a different point. Some people are just helping their friends and family. Some people are calling themselves financial coaches, and that is their full-time job. They've taken that leap, and that's awesome. And like the tips that people have has been awesome. So it's great for whatever part of that journey you are on. So check that out. The next thing I want to talk about coming up here is we actually have some workshops coming up, and we've been doing workshops for a long time, and they have been mostly in person in our offices in Mesa, Arizona, and they've been awesome, and the reaction has been great. But we've always, people, every time we post about them or advertise for them, people say, "Well, do you do them online?" And we never have. And a couple months ago, we had our first online workshop, and it was a huge hit. We got a lot of response from all over the country, and because people want to learn how to budget and the right way to budget, but they can't make it in person. So we're doing online workshops on January 6th. I will post the links in the show notes and maybe here on Facebook in a couple minutes. But if you go to our Facebook page and go to our events, they are on there. You can sign up. But
and I want to clarify really quickly. So I think one of the reasons why I didn't want to do them online for so long is there's definitely this, free webinar sort of strategy out there for marketing businesses. And the idea is that you get maybe like a really small nugget of information and then a sales pitch. And that is not what this is. So this is an online workshop. The ticket price is $49. That includes you and one other person, because we think it's really important, whether that's your spouse or a friend or a coworker. If you can show up with somebody else, it's going to be more likely that you've got that support system, somebody who knows what you're trying to do with your money. And we think that that's really powerful. So, $49 for two people, it gets recorded and sent to you. So even if you can't participate live, which we think is most valuable, absolutely, because there's an open Q&A session or section of it. But even if you can't for any reason, let's say you've got something going on that day, you register because you get a copy of it sent to you in your email so you can watch it at any time. It goes through step by step how we budget, how we teach our clients to do it, gives you worksheets and downloads and tutorials and essentially everything you need to do it yourself. And the idea is that it is a full-on workshop, so there's really no reason after that you can't be budgeting in a much more productive, fluid way after the workshop.
Yep, you'll leave with, we're going to give you templates and worksheets and printables to use on your own so that you can take what you learn in the workshop and just go apply it immediately. Mm-hmm. It's a great thing. Now, we actually have two different workshops that are going to piggyback off each other. There's one that is specifically for individuals, single people, and couples that are basically not self-employed. So if you're yourself, you want to learn how to budget just to wrangle your personal finances, or if you share finances with somebody else, a significant other, wife, husband, whatever, then, more specifically, this is for you. We're going to tell you how to share your finances. So that's one class. This workshop is called, I don't think we even mentioned it, it's called 5 Steps to a Better Budget. Our budgeting system is 5 simple steps. We're going to tell you how to do each one, and then you're going to leave with the framework for your own budget. So the second workshop, which is going to piggyback off the first one, is called 5 Steps for a Better Budget, the Solopreneur Edition. So if you are a small business owner where you have less than 3 employees, right? Or you're a solopreneur, it's just you. This is specifically for you, and we're going to go into detail on how to manage your business finances and your personal finances at the same time. Really, and for those people that are solopreneurs and small business owners, it's really about a variable income, right?
Yes, exactly. Right. Well, yeah. And I mean, the separation between the two business and personal checking accounts, like how do you begin to separate those two? That is just such an overwhelming concept for some people getting started in their own business. And then, or if people have them separated, they're not really sure what the flow of money should be from one to the other. So we help them design that, create that. We separate the two, and then we create budgets for both. And it's just its own beast when you own a business. It's very, very different from, somebody who has a steady paycheck coming in every 2 weeks. Both have their own sets of challenges and pros and cons. And so the workshops are designed to tackle those more specifically for those two groups of people.
Exactly. Great. So workshops, January 6th, 2018, 10 a.m. Arizona time. I don't know what that means for you. We don't celebrate. We don't celebrate or embrace daylight savings time in here.
We despise time zone changes. Seriously, there's always an issue with a client scheduling thing. We even have a software. We pay for a software that does time zone changes when clients schedule appointments. And without fail, there's still always one hiccup that happens every 6 months when the seasons change, and boy, oh boy, I despise time zone changes.
So I think right now we are Mountain Standard Time. We are not Pacific. We are not Central. We're not Eastern. We're the other one.
Sure. I don't know.
We're 2 hours away from Eastern. We're 1 hour ahead of Pacific. So
we're right and everyone else is wrong. That's all that matters.
Yep. And then from Hawaii, I have no idea anymore.
Yeah, so, no clue.
What time is it right now, James? We'll find out. It's 10:37 in Arizona right now.
Yeah.
Which means it's 12:37 noon in Michigan. Maybe. I don't know. Anyways.
We also have coming up at the start of the new year, along with the Financial Coaches Unite, we have a program called Financial Coach Academy. It is specifically designed to train people who want to become financial coaches, whether that is as a side hustle or as your full-time gig. Maybe you're already doing a little bit of it or possibly not doing any of it, and you want 2018 to be the year that you create a business around helping people with their money. Financial Coach Academy is a 10-week long program with me, and it rolls out February 1st. But registration obviously starts before that. We are offering an early bird special right now, $500 off if you register before December 31st. And so that goes away. Most people will probably register in January. And the last round that we had of that was amazing. And I cannot wait to do it again. If anything, I wish it was here now because I would do it again in a heartbeat. We've got people with websites done and they're helping people. They've got their programs designed. They've got their businesses set up from the back office standpoint, scheduling appointments, the contracts. You essentially get everything I have as a coach. And because I want you out there helping people, I want you out there making our world better from a financial perspective. Money is the number one cause of stress in our country. It's the number one cause of divorce. And most people, 80% of people could not tackle a minor emergency if it happened today. And I think there needs to be more of us out there helping those people. There's a huge need, and we can create a wonderful solution by getting more financial coaches trained to do this on their own. And that's what the Financial Coach Academy is all about. So check that out. And I think, babe, the website is financialcoachacademy.com.
Correct.
Right?
Yep. Financialcoachacademy.com.
You're so smart. That was just so easy. Right. Good job.
Thank you. For the code, if early bird pricing is until December 31st, is $500 off. The code is early bird. What's the difference between Financial Coach Academy and like the Dave Ramsey Financial Coach training? Because we've actually had people ask that, and they're like, "Oh, I'm trained by financial coach from Dave Ramsey," and what's the difference?
Yeah, the great question. So I think he focuses a lot on like teaching his principles and making sure that you're teaching those principles to your clients, where I don't believe that money is a one size fits all thing. So really the Financial Coach Academy is designed to help financial coaches design a business around their own coaching structure. So a lot of the times most people come into the academy and they know they want to help people, but as far as, well, how many sessions and how long is the session? And, is it a 4-session program? Is it, 6 months? Like, what is the design of that? And I help individuals formulate all of that from the business perspective, as well as the financial training. So there's sessions. You guys can take a look at financialcoachacademy.com, and we've listed all the modules for 10 weeks and what we cover. And those are just the bullet points of what we cover. So you can imagine it's 2 hours every week. We really dive in a lot of detail into those topics that you'll see on those modules. But, overcoming objections, you'll leave with like your packages figured out, your why, all the back office things as well. So like a client schedules, what happens? Like, how do you manage your calendar? How does the client get the contract? What is that onboarding flow? So very much from a business model standpoint, because I don't only want you out there helping people, I want you to do it in the most successful way possible for you so that you can do it for a very long time. And if you're out there helping people but can't pay your own bills or can't make a living doing it, it's probably going to be a short-term thing, and that's not what I want. I want people out there feeling really successful with their money, and successful as a financial coach, as a business as well. And so that's what it's designed for.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Great. So financialcoachacademy.com.
Mm-hmm.
Early bird until December 31st.
Yeah.
James says it's 7:37 in Hawaii right now.
Okay, so 3 hours behind us.
3 hours. Cool. All right, so let's get right into it. Trending. What is trending in the news today as far as personal finance goes?
Can I stop you for a second? You forgot something.
Oh, what did I forget?
We have the meal prep challenge. So I really think that this is a huge hurdle for a lot of people. I know for us, we've had a bad couple of months in the sense of like one of us was sick for the last couple of months at all times, it seemed like. And life just gets busy. And what happens is we don't meal prep. We eat out all the time. The budget ends up getting bigger. You know, we're maybe not feeling any more energetic because we're eating like crap, you know, all sorts of things. And so we decided for everybody, we're going to do a meal prep challenge. $25 buy-in. There's like a fee that gets added to that, but all of the money that people pay essentially goes into the kitty for prizes. So we've got a whole design of a point system. It's going to be 6 weeks long. And really the idea is to get people feeling motivated and accountable to others and motivated to meal prep and save money. It is not necessarily like diet related. So we're not health coaches. We're not trying to encourage you eat paleo or low carb or Whole30 or any of those things. Like we do our thing, but we really want it to be where you can prep whatever kind of food you want, but are you prepping? That's really the point. You know, we're trying to make it fun. So the idea is if you prep, we want to see a before and after picture of what your kitchen looks like, for example, because chances are after you prep 30 meals or whatever, your kitchen's going to look like a disaster, and we want to encourage you to clean it as quickly as possible. So if you post a picture, you get an extra point and that kind of thing. So we're trying to make it fun. And again, it's a $25 buy-in, but again, all that goes towards prizes. So Michael, I don't know the link for that or where they check that out. So you might want to share that, and you can post it in the notes too.
I just did. It's fiscalfitnessphx.com/meal prep challenge.
Awesome. Cool. So check that out.
Yeah, we asked a lot of people, or I asked in Facebook, and I think the Saver and Spender podcast group too, but like, what do you normally spend per week on meals in your family? And there are a lot of people that they like felt really guilty about that they don't have a handle on their groceries on top of eating out, and they spend, you know, they don't know. So meal prepping is like not only is it going to possibly help you lose weight if that is your goal, or if you want to eat healthier, it's going to automatically do that for you, but you're going to save so much money on your budget. So if that's one of your goals for 2018, then, you know, getting on board a meal prep challenge like this is really going to help you save money and you know, eat healthier, possibly. Like Kelsey said, it's not our goal, but I think you're just automatically going to do that anyways. I
think it just multitude of benefits: save time, save money, save calories, right? Or, you know, sugar, whatever it is that your vice is. So yeah, so we're excited about that. I know we need it personally, right? So we feel like a lot of the clients need it, or a lot of our posse of individuals, our community needs it. And so we are happy to deliver and all benefit mutually. So
for sure. Great. Check it out. Thanks.
All right. Now trending. Ready, go.
Now trending. Sorry. So from CNN Money, here's an article that came out. I'm just going to read it, and we're going to kind of talk about it. But roughly half of Americans are saving 5% or less of their incomes, including 18% that are not saving anything, according to a survey from Bankrate. Only about a quarter of people are saving more than 10% of their earnings. Currently, 1 in 7 people are saving more than 15%, the report showed.
All right, so here's my gist on this. This sounds good or bad, or however you want to look at it, but how many people actually know what their saving percentage is? And so my challenge for everybody is when you read these articles, it's like we don't even have a comparison. We don't have a metrics. And part of me doesn't care what other people are doing, right? Like, are we doing the best that we can do? But we should absolutely know what our savings percentage is. So there is a few different ways you can calculate this. None of them are necessarily wrong. It's just up to you. So I'm going to give you some examples. Really, the gist of it is that you want to take how much you put into savings. Typically this is like long-term savings, more like investments or retirement, not necessarily like money going into a travel fund, because the idea of that money is it might be spent in the future, right? So it's not really savings for the sake of savings. Still a really good tactic, but not necessarily what we're talking about. So you take all the money you're putting into investments, whether it's an IRA, 401k, SEP, all of that, and divide it by your income. Should you use net or gross income? So gross income is the total dollar amount you get in a year. Net income is typically described as, after taxes come out. Doesn't matter. Either way is correct. What I usually recommend is just pick a way, and make sure you're doing it that same way every year. That way you're comparing apples to apples. The idea is you want to know your percentage, and then at least you should be focusing on making progress every year. So if you're at 3% this year, can you get it to 4% next year? And what do you need to do to get it to 4%? And always trying to improve your savings percentage is really what this is about. Also, if you do it the same way every year, again, you're comparing apples to apples, and that's really the most important thing. For us as a business owner, it makes more sense for us to do gross, because we take the total number that we get into the business, and whether that's us personally, we've got office rent and we don't necessarily get all of that money ourselves, but then there are things that we get to pay for out of the business, and it's so hard to figure out, that would be such a manual calculation on what is our income. So for us, we actually do gross, and then we take all of the money we save. We've got a company 401k, an IRA, and we come up with our percentage using gross. Certainly a lot of my clients will do net. If most of your contributions are things after taxes, like a Roth IRA, then you might want to use your net number. If the bulk of your investments happen pre-tax to like a company 401k, you might want to use the gross number. And again, at the end of the day, what we don't know in these types of statistics is what number are these people using, and it can vary greatly, right? So if I do a net number of income, my percentage is going to look amazing compared to somebody who has the exact same savings figure, but they're comparing it to their gross income. And so that's where, try not to compare. Your job is to know your own number and compare it to yourself one year to the next, and always try and get it better and strengthen that number. That's my soapbox. Sorry.
Perfect.
Okay.
I think I blacked out there for a second. I think I saw God.
Stop.
Whoa, it was weird. But the article continues. Bankrate's Financial Security Index. I saw a light. Don't go into the light, Michael.
Stop.
Bankrate's Financial Security Index, which surveyed 1,000 adults in the U.S., also showed consumers are feeling better about their debt and financial situation compared to a year ago, which would actually be bad news for savings accounts. People get frugal fatigue. As the economy improves, I think a lot of people will fall back into familiar habits, more spending, more debt, less savings. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm seeing it for sure. I mean, especially when it comes to tapping into your house's equity to pay off debt or fix maybe some overspending that you've done. For years, people swore they would never do this again. And now all of a sudden it's happening all over again, the mortgage, refinancing and the underwriting process has gotten more lackadaisical all over again. And they swore they wouldn't do that, And so I'm certainly seeing it where the better the economy gets, the more we start to trust that the income will always be there, or our job security starts to feel more stable and all of that, and this is how everybody felt before, the economy took the dive, before, and then all of a sudden it happened. So don't let this stop you from feeling really motivated or having that fire under you to get money in savings, build an emergency fund, get yourself out of debt, stick to your guns on laying that really solid foundation so that if we ever find ourselves back in a really tough time again, you're ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Great. Saving more is easier said than done, which is why Bankrate suggests making it automatic by having a portion of each paycheck be directly deposited into a savings account in a retirement plan. Saving needs to happen before you pick up your check. What do you think about that?
So I struggle with this because I think sometimes people read this, and when it says savings needs to happen before you pick up your check, if a person is trying to get out of debt, and so a lot of their money every paycheck, let's say, is going towards paying off credit cards at 29% interest, then they now feel badly about that choice as opposed to feeling proud of themselves because they instead are saying, well, I'm not saving money. So I would change this quote to say something like, try to automate putting money towards your goals and priorities, right? So before your money comes in and you decide to spend it on non-necessities or even some necessities like utilities and stuff, what can you do to automate and put as much money behind whatever goal you're working on? So, maybe that is saving. Maybe you're at the point where retirement, 401k, getting money into a savings account can be automated. That's where you're at. Or maybe you need to be paying off some debt. And maybe you put the money automatically into a checking account, and then from there you pay that money to your credit card, or something like that. So I think the point is automated and prioritizing your goals first, whether that's savings or paying off debt.
Yeah. And I think that's important because people, savings, increasing savings, having an emergency savings, and paying off debt are probably the top two goals that people have. And people say, "Oh, I got to have savings. I got to have savings." But then I also have to pay off debt. I have to pay off debt. And if you do both at the same time, and if you make both of those a priority, you're doubling how long it's going to take you to reach both goals. So prioritize which one, and
Yeah.
if you have a lot of debt, but one is huge interest rate, like that's costing you a lot of money, to avoid that, pay the minimums on that, and
Yeah.
and put money into savings, right?
And this is, sometimes I think it would be so much sexier if I could just tell people, like, you do it this way first and then you do it this way second. And I firmly believe that this is different for everybody. So there are some instances where a client is going to get out of debt in 6 months, and we can do that even if they keep their 401k contributions going at maybe 10% or 15% of their paycheck, or maybe they're doing a lot to that, and it doesn't prevent them from getting out of debt quickly. And then there's other instances where doing that means that we can't see how the debt is going to be possibly paid down or something. I will say that I feel like it's my job to paint that picture, look at all the numbers, go through it, and make the determination for each person individually, because I don't believe that it's the same for everybody. So it'd be sexier for me and easier for me to give everyone a nice, easy answer, and it just doesn't work that way.
Right. James actually brings up a good point here on Facebook Live, but he says, pay raise season is upon us. The same thought should be the same, not to spend more. So people are getting these bonuses or a pay raise, without going into too far, I mean, this is a whole other podcast thing on itself, but people get this extra money and then they think, oh, I can use that money and don't for whatever I want, not to either pay on debt or pay off of some debt or put it into savings. They think it's just extra money now. Cool.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where a perfect example, if you get a 2% raise, immediately make that 2%, calculation going to a direct deposit to savings or checking, and maybe paying debt from there, or investments. Like, don't try to make it so you don't even feel that money. I give the same analogy or example. Let's say a client pays off a credit card and it's a $323 a month payment on the 15th of every month. As soon as that car is paid off, I tell them, whatever your next goal is on the 15th of every month for $323, pay that towards it. Don't allow that money to come into your checking account and then force yourself to feel the willpower or execute the willpower towards putting that towards your next goal. Keep it automated, right? Like, instead of it going to the car, it just goes to the next thing on the same day and the same amount every single month, like it was going to the car.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Try to keep it as automated as possible. So,
yeah. So that was just great. Today's a savings episode, I think, more than anything. But I want to segue right into our financial rule of thumb, because there's and the financial rule of thumb is like the saying that, oh, you need to do this X, Y, Z, and it's one size fits all, right, type of a thing. So and we actually got this rule of thumb from this previous article, but they said that you should be putting 15% of your income into savings. Is that true?
Sure. For some people, that's perfect percentage that they should be doing, and that's where it's like
everybody should be doing that.
No. Yeah. Oh God, this drives me crazy sometimes. So then it's like people who could actually physically do 30% because they have a great income right now and they're not spending, and they could be saving 30%. They shouldn't do that because you only need to do 15. Or gosh, you could do 30% and retire 10 years earlier. And like, wouldn't that be wonderful? But, so I think in some instances, this percentage and giving these rules of thumbs out there really holds people back from the potential that they could be saving so much more aggressively, because it's almost like, well, this is good enough. I've hit this magic number, right? Other people, like, they're doing 3% and yet they're maybe paying off debt in the meantime, and they're feeling badly about themselves because they're not doing the 15%. I really think it boils down to being as specific as you can for your situation, calculating what does your retirement lifestyle, dream lifestyle look like, coming up with what that monthly lifestyle will cost you, and then figuring out what do you need to be putting aside every single month in order to accomplish that? How long will it take you? and what percentage does that get you, right? And I think once you know that number or that percentage, doing it becomes almost non-negotiable, right? And it doesn't matter if you read an article, you talk to a friend, if someone's doing better than you, good for them. You don't need to do that much, right? So it allows you to balance out like saving for your future and enjoying today. I will say that, that we do this, and 15%, personally, I am just much more of a saver, as you know, babe. Like, I don't think you really care for what we're doing, but like, I mean, you do care, but I think I'm the one that calculates it. I calculate, I don't even know if you know this, Michael, our savings rate every single month. And I then average it out for the year so I can see what it is for the year. And for the year, we are at like 29.78%. There's some awesome Facebook groups that I'm in where, you share your money and all of that. And we encourage that. We want people to own their finances and be really proud of it. We are at like 29.78% or 29.6% or something like that. And you better believe I'm going to do whatever I can between now and the end of the year, because I want it to be at 30%. We are so close. We're at less than 1% off that. And I'm going to find whatever I can. So your wife is driven, honey. You better watch out. I'm going to be saving.
I didn't know we were saving. What's the savings account? I didn't know we were saving any money.
Stop it. You are he's lying, everybody. He knows where our savings accounts are. I make him involved. I do, I promise. And you do want to be involved. So I just crunch the numbers more obsessively than you do. So for me, I think 15% would hold us back. And for others, that's a huge stretch. And it's just something that they could feel badly about. And I think either way, being more specific, asking yourself what it is that you want out of your life and how much you need to be saving is at the end of the day, the most important thing. And so this is a stupid rule of thumb.
Yep. Great. I like that. So let's go right into the budget brag. And this is a great one. Yeah. So Tammy, are you listening still, Tammy? So we're going to brag on Tammy. She says that she has slapped $482.40 on their last personal loan, bringing it down to around $2,800. She didn't know the exact amount, but it's around $2,800. This is from $4,900.
$2,807. $2,807.
There you go. Mm-hmm. This is from about $4,900 in May, and projected payoff date is March 18th. Cha-ching.
Yeah. So what I love about this, is it is a hectic month for a lot of people. It's an expensive month. It's lots of transactions, a lot of busyness this month. And so anytime you can make progress this month towards your goals, is such a positive thing. And I know by the end of the month, she's probably going to put even more to it. So, but the fact that, already we've put $482 to it, we're chipping away at it. She's probably going to have it paid off before March. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
That's our original target. So anything we can do to make it faster is a beautiful thing. And her average, $2,100 decrease in 7 months is an average of $300 a month. And she just plopped $482 to it. So, she's crushing it. It's amazing. She's doing everything right now. And, she even had a whammy pop up. She had a vet bill unexpectedly. So, it could have been even more. So even despite the hecticness and the whammy, she's making progress, which I think is remarkable. So good job, Tammy. Keep up the good work.
Great job, Tammy. Awesome job.
Yes.
Well, let's go right into the listener question. And so this is, again, savings episode, but this person asks, where should I be saving my money for emergency savings? Do you get good interest rates on savings accounts anymore? And then also James asked kind of a follow-up question, where is a good place to keep your savings liquid?
Got it. Okay. And this is when I rolled my eyes at you because of your joke. Okay. I wrote a little note on our, question that said, define good. What is considered a good interest rate? And, interest rates change. And as you were saying originally, you used to be able to get 5-6% in a savings account, but you'd also pay 14% on your mortgage. I would say now 1 to 1.3% in savings is good. We're going to post.
Hold on. Can you say that again? I got a little feedback, like digital. What was good?
Like 1 to 1.3% is good right now for a savings account. And we're going to post a couple of links. There's some great articles. Magnify Money did one, Nerd Wallet, which I love, did one, just kind of ranking some and giving you some things to consider. I certainly have my favorites. And the idea is to look at the minimum balance requirement, first of all, and if there's any fees, because even it might say, well, you get 2%, but then you pay a fee every month, it's completely negating that percentage. So, you want to look for, and if you have $5,000, they might be advertising that they pay 1.3%, but that's if you keep 10,000 in there. And if you're putting 5,000 in, you're actually in a much lower rate, and you just need to be aware of that. So not only is what is the advertised rate, but what's the rate for the balance that you're putting in, and also fees and that sort of thing. So those are the two sort of components to look for. My favorite, honestly, is CapitalOne360.com. Used to be called ING Financial, so they've been around forever. Why is this one my favorite? Because we've probably had it for 10 to 12 years. I was going to log in and it won't let me in right now. I don't know why. Their website's down. So not looking great for them. But no, I mean, it tells you like you've had an account since this date, and we've had them forever, right? And it used to be that they were the first sort of the initial people or company to have online savings accounts where it links directly to your checking account. So we've had them for a really long time, which is probably why I like them. They're at 1% right now for a general savings account. It doesn't matter how much you keep in there, whether it's $100 or $9,000. It links directly to your primary checking account. It'll go back and forth. There's no fees. Any savings account you have, it's a federal law that you have 6 withdrawals in a month. So that is for pretty much all savings accounts, whether it's a credit union or a bank. So 6 withdrawals per month is the maximum there, or it gets reverted to a checking account. So just keep that in mind. But again, this money is probably supposed to be sitting there anyway. You shouldn't really be touching it. So 1% for a savings account, 1.3% for their money market. And that is if you maintain a $10,000 balance or more, it's 1.3%. Some of the other ones, Synchrony is 1.3, Goldman Sachs. Ally is another one. So the next sort of bank that came out after Capital One was Ally, ALLY. They're at 1.25. Same thing, very easy online bank, that sort of thing. So for the ease of it, Capital One 360 and Ally are amazing. Alliant, banks like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase, it's like 0.1% or something. So, I mean, dramatically, significantly less. I do recommend generally that you keep some money at your local bank for sure. So if you're going to do one of the online banks, keep some money at your local savings account. That way, if you ever need immediate access to the money, you have it. You're not going to get paid great interest on it, but it's there if you need it. And then keep the bulk of your savings at the higher interest rate savings account. And then that way you're sort of creating some security there that you've got, accessible money. And these banks are accessible. So it's not like they're trying to hold your money, but it does take a couple of days to transfer back from the checking, into your primary checking account. So there's a few workarounds there, but I won't get into all of that. I see you smiling. So are people commenting on things and like talking about me? I can't see it, which is crazy.
James is talking about me. He said, so because Mike spent all the 30% profit you all made and he doesn't want to admit it.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah. So, again, what do you consider good? I think those are good right now. So those are some of the best ones out there. And we'll post a link to those 2 articles that list a whole bunch more. And again, you want to look at minimum balance requirement and if there's any fees.
I know a lot of people say Capital One 360 is online only. They have no brick and mortar stores at all. That's how they can do so well and give you such a good rate and be competitive, so they don't have to pay for stores and upfront overhead stuff and all that kind of stuff. So, but a lot of people I only bank with Wells Fargo. I do not want to go anywhere but Wells Fargo. What do you say to that? What would be the benefit to leaving your specific bank and joining Capital 360?
I think the thing that I am not talking about switching over all of your banking. So like if you've got a checking account at Wells Fargo or any other bank, keep all of that the same, but open savings accounts someplace else where you get a better interest rate. I don't like the idea of like hopping from one savings account to another. So like if Ally is higher for 6 months, then Capital One might be higher for 6 months. I wouldn't worry with the hassle of like jumping around. But picking a bank other than your primary bank to hold your savings because they've got no fees and they can give you a better interest rate and all of that. I think people immediately assume when I say we're going to open these savings accounts that I want them to switch over all of their banking, all their bill pay, all their automatic debits, and that's not what I'm talking about. So I think it's more of a marriage between the two, keeping everything you already have and simply adding some savings accounts at a better rate.
Right. Do you know of any banks, brick and mortar banks that can beat or match the benefits of Capital One 360 or Ally or?
I don't.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No.
Just curious.
Some credit unions maybe, but even then I don't think that they're even that good.
Yeah. And they might
They're
have like
better than banks,
minimum,
but not that great,
and I would say those probably have some minimum balance requirements or something, if anything, if they're.
Yeah, and sometimes, the good thing, credit unions are usually low, so like maybe $25 minimum balance requirement. The nice thing, Capital One 360, Ally, a lot of these other ones we're talking about have zero balance requirement to get 1%. Yes, to get 1.3, there's maybe a bit higher of a balance requirement, but you could keep $10 in it and they don't care, a dollar, or I think about like your car insurance. Let's say you pay your car insurance annually. You could be saving 1/12 of that every month in a savings account. In the 12th month, when you get the bill, you wipe out the account. You literally take it down to zero. These banks don't care, which I like. I like to know that like I've got the freedom to make a choice and they're not going to hit me with a fee, or they're not going to threaten to close the account or anything like that. And in those 11 or 12 months that the money's just sort of growing in there, I'm also earning interest on it while it sits there. Right. So we're not talking about a ton of money for something small, but it's better than nothing, right? Like I consider that a little bit of a perk for managing my money well.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super easy to use. They have an app, right? And you can Capital 360 and Ally, and they make it super easy, super. Even if you're not tech savvy, you can figure it out. It's pretty nice.
Yeah. And just to clarify, like we have no affiliation with any of these. Like I don't have an affiliate link I'm going to send you or anything. And not that there's anything wrong with that, but these are just ones that we use. Like I said, we've used Capital One 360. I wish I could get the date because I'm sure it's been like 12 years or something, maybe even 15. I don't know. And so I've just learned to trust them and appreciate them. And the ease of it is pretty amazing. So.
Yep, definitely. Mm-hmm. So let's go right into the main topic of today, which is overspending. So here's it's based on a question from James. He's like our super fan, I think.
I love it. Oh, we should get him a t-shirt.
We should. I listened to the Saver and the Spender podcast, and all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
Yeah.
But so where is the one area people often overspend? Let's start with that part of the question. And you have a couple things, and I have a couple things that we see.
I do. And I think I might get some hate mail after we talk about this a little bit, because I think some people, this might make them uncomfortable. They're going to be like, oh crap, I'm one of those people. And I will say that I'm all about like, it's okay to have sort of your one vice, right? Like we can have our one thing, own it though, and have the awareness around it and realize the opportunity cost or the trade-off that decision is making you. That's what we're talking about. That's most important. Awareness, self-awareness, self-reflection is like such a key to making progress in life and to growing as a person. So, and growing with your finances. So you might have these, and I'm really sorry.
No, you're not.
I am sorry to deliver the hurt of this conversation, but grooming. Oh God, ladies. Okay. Like we've got makeup and skincare and eyebrow waxing or like lip waxing, facials, pedicures, manicures, getting our hair cut and colored. I am like missing out on some really tanning, the hair removal. I mean, the list goes on and on. Lashes, having lashes, fake lashes.
Extensions.
Wait, what else?
Extensions and Botox.
Oh yeah, duh. Yes. So, and again,
those are just things that I get.
You don't.
But I budget for them.
And here's the thing, I absolutely have some of those things. So, this is by all means not to say that you shouldn't do them. Okay. So, and again, all of these things we're going to talk about, if that's your thing, girl, go for it. Right. Or guy, whatever it is, like do it. Don't have all of these things be your thing though, so all the different categories we're going to talk about, but grooming, I am amazed. This is definitely by area of the country too. Phoenix people, I don't think they realize just how much they're spending on this stuff compared to some of the budgets I see, from like my Michigan clients, or, I mean, it's definitely like a cultural thing, I think, as far as where you live. And certainly a lot of money. And so my challenge is just total up how much you spend on this. Like literally take what you spend throughout a year and see if that feels worth it to you. Is that really adding value to your life? Is there anything you could do to cut back? And again, maybe not on all of them, but maybe a couple of things if you could DIY it or whatever the case may be, and just making sure that it's something that you really love and care about, and it's adding value to your life.
Right. Don't DIY Botox though, okay?
Yeah. Don't DIY Botox. That's probably a good point. Thank you. Michael. Okay. How many times in an episode can I say Michael?
I know. I'm going to make that like my ringtone. Just compile them all. Michael.
I wish you could have one that like is me rolling my eyes at you.
Yeah.
Okay. Home decor, and not just home decor, but like, you move into an apartment that you're only going to be in for a year or 2 years or maybe even 3 years. And it has to be like the most beautiful space. It's got to be from something on like, HGTV cribs or something, right? I mean, we move into these houses that we're only going to be in temporarily, and young people especially, instead of taking time to move into a space or make it their own over time, we spend so much money on making it perfect. And the amount of money spent on home decor and home renovations or that kind of thing, furniture, is pretty remarkable from some people's budget. So again, this might be your thing and you don't spend anything on grooming, or it might be that you have all of these things, and that's definitely when we need to take a look. Okay, take inventory of that. So there, it's like, can we, a space doesn't have to be perfect overnight, right? Especially if it's going to be temporary. It's just temporary, and not spending all of this money on it. There might be a better use of that, and challenging that so that maybe you can improve your savings rate percentage into the next year. For example, we've been talking about that. Maybe paying off debt a little bit faster, taking the time to have delayed gratification versus the immediate gratification on some of these things that's especially what we're talking about in that category. Let's see. Eating out. I'm surprised by how many people continue to struggle with this, and they either feel like they eat out too much, whether it's just, they pack their lunch and eat at home every single day during the week, but then on the weekend they go crazy, or they feel like they eat out lunch every day and they wish they were better at that. I mean, I was amazed at how many people commented that eating out was their thing. I mean, amazed at how many people feel guilty about their eating out budget. So I certainly see this as a category that people, whether they overspend or not, they certainly feel like they're overspending. Okay. Travel, I think this is something, travel's become easier. We've got these websites out there, travel hacking and discount sites and all of that. And, taking a big vacation every year is something that I feel like feels more common for some people, where I think sometimes we talk to our parents or the generation before that, and travel was something that you did as a special thing. It wasn't necessarily something that you did every single year. And now it's just becoming something that if you don't travel, something must be wrong with you. And I don't subscribe to that. So I want to challenge people that it can be your thing, and maybe you give up some of the other categories we talked about, or are you traveling because everyone says you should be enjoying travel? Like some people just like being home, and that's okay too. So,
yep. One thing that I was thinking of, that this is maybe, and I was going to say it's probably more of a male thing. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm being very stereotypical here, but like electronic services and streaming and cable and football packages and that kind of stuff. Those things add up really fast, and it's easy to get that and be like, oh, Spotify is only $9.99 a month, but then when you add on top of that Hulu and Netflix and Amazon, which actually $99 a year, but still that's
you can pay it monthly though. I have some clients who pay it monthly because it's like $11 a month instead of $99 a year, so it's easier for them. No, and you're right. Like it's the iTunes or some of the music without the commercials, or the small fees for the data storage, or, it's like $3 a month, right? So, certainly these are the little nickel and diming things that all of a sudden we're spending $200 a month or more on, these types of things. This is especially important for small business owners, I think, because there's a million different things that we need in order to operate our business more efficiently, and they're all just nickel and diming. You've got the domain fee and the scheduling app and the mail service that you pay for, and the the graphic design software you could pay, $6 a month for. They're endless, right? They are endless. And at the end of the day, you look at it and you're like, wow, I'm spending $500 a month on all of these little things. And that means I need one more client and I need to work that much harder and all of that. And it's more about just realizing the total of all the things.
Right, exactly. And then one thing I want to add is that nowadays, maybe you're overspending on cable, or DirecTV or whatever, when you could be actually doing a couple different streaming channels and be paying a lot less. So something to think about. There's Sling TV, which we use. We love it. They have 3 different packages depending on how many channels you want. Hulu is free and you can subscribe to it. What's the other one I was thinking of? Netflix. YouTube has TV you can subscribe to now. So, if
there's so many of them.
Yeah. And when you think about the channels that you actually watch when you pay for the packages of cable and DirecTV, like, I'm sure we would only watch 5 different channels.
Yeah. So we have so we personally have Sling, Netflix, and Hulu. And we have Amazon Prime, obviously. So we get to that. I think the biggest challenge, and this sounds so crazy, but I don't know the total of what we pay for those 4 things. It's not much, it's definitely cheaper than if we were to pay for cable, but is how many times a week, honey, do I have to ask you, like, we watch a certain show and I cannot tell you where it's at? Like, is that on Netflix? Is that on Hulu? Is that on Amazon? Is that on Sling? And I probably 5 times a week, I'm like, do you want to watch one of these episodes? Where is it at? Right? Like, and Michael has to tell me, like, where to go to get it. I just can't keep that stuff straight for some reason. I don't know.
That's an accurate statement.
But that's our biggest challenge in life, honey. We're doing pretty good, I think, right?
That's true.
Yeah, I can't find my TV show.
Yes. So Chantel, not your sister Chantel, but somebody else just commented that she's guilty on most everything we talk about today. We signed up for the Fiscal Fitness Food Prep Challenge and scheduled the MMD session right after the holiday to see what program we need to get on track and reach some of our financial goals. So thank you so much, Chantel. We're so proud of you for taking these steps for the next year. That's awesome.
That is awesome. And again, awareness, as painful as it can be to admit it, kudos to you. And that is definitely like the first step of just recognizing it and then starting to peel away the onion, right? Like, how can I save $5 here, $10 there in maybe each of those vices that you might have, and really just beginning to make progress and getting the momentum in the right spot for you. I have no doubt that please check in with us. I would love to hear, 2 months from now, what changes have you made and all that? Because I bet you simply by us talking about this, you're going to make some changes. And even if it's $50 a month, that's $50 a month. It's great. Right?
That's a lot of money.
Right. Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It's great.
Let's talk about, so last thing for overspending is coffee, which is, we talk about this constantly because we have a minor Starbucks addiction, but it's not bad, I would say. We budget for it.
We do. It is budgeted. Yeah. And we do good in that regard. But
we've been actually, so because we're meal prepping, Kelsa normally gets a latte and I get a doppio espresso, which is just 2 shots of espresso. Every time I drink one of those, I have to shave my chest because I grow so much hair on my chest from drinking that espresso.
This is where, like, I just love coffee, period. It doesn't really matter whether it's Starbucks or not, but like, I don't even like, so you started buying me, what you were going to say, sorry, I cut you off, is that you started to get me the doppio espresso, which is cheaper than the latte. So $2 cheaper whenever we buy it. Right. Yep. And I just love coffee so much. I don't even notice that that's strong, honey. So you're saying that you like literally have to shave your chest. I'm just like drinking it like it's Kool-Aid or something. Yeah. Seriously, I have a coffee addiction.
I like it. It's not bad, but it's like, it's just super condensed coffee. And so you get punched in the face just a little bit every sip you take.
Yes.
It's awesome.
So let's talk about, with all of these things, some of the ways that we can continue to make them luxuries, because all the things we just discussed are true luxuries in life, right? But what happens is the more you have them, the less they feel like a luxury, and the more it's like you need it in order to feel happy. Or if you don't have it, you feel as if you're without in some way, right? As opposed to feeling grateful for the fact that you do have it. Like it just starts to become so commonplace that our appreciation for it wanes. And so there's a few things you can do. A complete detox of whatever it is, a cleanse, whatever you want to call it. And I'm using this word, but and I'm not even talking about from a coffee or food perspective, like cutting out your streaming stuff and going without it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, something like that, to prove to yourself that when you get it back, one, prove to yourself that you can live without it and you're still going to be fine. Two, when you introduce it back, you appreciate it so much more. You've been without it. It feels so great. You're like, oh, I've missed you, right? And it feels like a luxury all over again. So that's definitely one trick. I love doing that, actually. I love sometimes just being like, if I didn't have this for 30 days, I'm just going to cut it out, because then when I get it back, like whether it's for financial reasons or whatever, it just helps you to feel grateful for that item when you have it back in your life again. Again, it feels like a true luxury. Try to pair it with something responsible. So, if let's say going to a coffee shop is your thing, maybe there's some things you need to do. If you're a business owner, chances are most of us hate prospecting, right? Like either calling people, making connections, all of that. It's not always the most fun thing. Or maybe you hate updating your social media and scheduling that out. Tie that trip to the coffee shop with a task that is also responsible, and try and pair those two together. That way, if you're going to do it, at least you're making progress in another area that you tend to hold yourself back in at the exact same time. Tying it and pairing it also could mean pairing it to a goal. So, maybe you get to book a flight for a vacation when you pay off a credit card, right? So the idea is that the luxury happens only after something responsible or progress financially has been made. Or, you get to do something after you've lost 5 pounds, if that's what your goal is, right? So it doesn't have to be a financial goal, but, really trying to tie it as a reward to something else that you really also want to accomplish, but maybe it's harder to find the motivation there. Also, try to do it a certain day of the week. So try to not do something daily. Honestly, like I think we want to have really good habits in place as far as skills or things that we accomplish productively every day. But, going to a coffee shop every single day, again, on the day that you don't, you feel like you're without, as opposed to feeling really great about the time you get coffee. So, we try to go every Friday. That's our treat, right? Like Friday, like, yay, it's Friday, get coffee. I look forward to it all week because of that. Maybe you do it on a Monday and a Friday. You get to start your week and you get to end your week, but in the middle, you don't do it. Same with eating out, like try to tie eating out to more of an experience. So, we might go out to dinner, just the two of us, and it's a date and it feels like a luxury, whether we're going to like Burger King or a nice restaurant. The fact that we're making an event out of it, as opposed to like going through the drive-thru really fast, coming back to the office, sitting at my desk while I work and eating by myself, like that feels more like a convenience versus an experience around that item. So those are some tips. And I will remind people, this could probably be a whole topic all by itself, but oftentimes we think about, in order to become happier, we need to add something to our life, right? We need to travel more. I want to eat out more. I want to add that gym membership. And in fact, the opposite tends to be true, which is that the pain of some things, removing those painful things, can actually make us a lot happier immediately than adding something that's going to add a small dose of happiness. So, removing the pain of something, removing the pain of debt, removing the insecurity you feel because you have no money in savings and you can't tackle an emergency tomorrow, removing that pain and solving those would actually make you so much happier than like eating out 5 times a week. A really good example of this is whether you spend $500 a month on eating out or $2,000 a month on eating out, you're probably not any happier. Right. So the idea of like adding more of something is not what's actually going to make us happier. Removing it.
James says I'm falling asleep.
Michael.
James. No, he said Mike needs some coffee. He's falling asleep.
Yeah, he needs his doppio espresso. He has already had one, James. Don't encourage him. He's already had one.
Like a sip.
So you still have yours?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I drank mine in like 2 seconds. Okay. No, really and truly, like the idea of removing something that's causing pain and heartache or all of that would actually likely make you happier than adding something more. So keep that in mind. And that especially ties to a number of these topics that we just talked about.
Mm-hmm. I think one thing that I want to touch on is that works for us is that you find an alternative. Mm-hmm. So if you have a coffee addiction, and we actually did this last year, I remember we got to the point we were like getting Starbucks too much. And we bought one of the Ninja coffee bars, which I thought was going to be like, like an as seen on TV, big scam. It's going to break down in a year or, a month, and it's not going to work. That thing is awesome.
Yeah.
And because we want, not only do we want like a cup of coffee in the morning, but later we want like a coffee drink or just some espresso or something. And so if we paid maybe $200 for that, but we go to Starbucks 4 times less per week. You know what I mean? So in the long run, you're saving a lot of money. So if you find it, what are you overspending on? Find an alternative. If you'd like to get your hair colored, maybe you do it out of a box for a little bit, and then every so often you get it colored. I don't know if that really works that way for hair coloring, but this is just my.
No, I love it. Seriously, like we should have an entire episode where Michael talks about female topics, and I'll just see how it goes because this makes me
it's gonna go south fast.
This makes me so happy and puts a smile on my face to hear you talk about this. So, I mean,
good.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I mean, I don't know what else we talk about women, but
don't challenge me to come up with some topics. I will.
Yep. I don't know. I don't know the alternatives to a lot of women things.
Yeah. Right. So that's all right.
But if you could find something, like something that's cheaper or, if you have a streaming service that you pay for Spotify, maybe you do Pandora, and not pay for the premium service, or you do Spotify but the ads, you cannot listen to music for 30 seconds, listen to ad, and then get back into the song that you want to hear. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, good take.
Cool. Last thing for the day, then we're out of here.
My favorite.
Yay, Carmen's Corner. Carmen is our daughter who is going to be 2 on the 31st of December, and that's exactly 2 weeks and like 2 days. So that's crazy. And we still haven't done anything for her birthday party.
We have not. Can we just talk about a fail that we did?
Yeah. Which one?
Oh, yeah, I know. But we're imperfect. That's totally okay. We invited people to her birthday party, and she's going to be 2. We sort of came up with this idea that, 1 year we would do family only, just us birthday party. The next year we would do a birthday party for her, friends, whatever. And she's 2. So this is just something we put in place now, thinking that, when she has a lot of friends and she's older, this is a good system to have.
She has like 3 friends right now.
Yeah. I mean, she's 2, right? So not even 2. So, I mean, not a huge posse of individuals, or so we thought. So we invited people, friends and neighbors and, her, godparents, if you will, of course. Right. And we invited all the kids that she knows, which isn't that many, but, how many people do we have coming to this 2-year-old's birthday party, Michael? Why don't you tell everybody?
Like 40. Wah, wah.
40 people. And it's a Paw Patrol birthday party. So a lot of us adults, we need to come up with like a drink that's like Paw Patrol related for the adults or something.
Sky vodka.
Sky vodka. Oh my God.
So for those of you who aren't into the Paw Patrol scene like we are, paw heads like we call ourselves.
We're Paw Patrol groupies.
That's right. Sky is Carmen's favorite character. She's a little girl dog that has a helicopter.
Yes.
And saves the day.
By the way, 2 years ago, we wouldn't have known any of this. So we were way cooler 2 years ago than we are now.
So much cooler. But you know what? I love Casper Baby Pants. I just want to put that out there. Mm-hmm. Casper Baby Pants is the best thing that's ever happened to me. He is a kid singer. And you should go check him out because he's awesome to listen to. Not only do kids like him, but he's actually really fun to listen to as a parent. Like, it's not like stupid kid songs. Like, they're funny, they're fun. But his real name is Chris Ballou. He is the lead singer of the Presidents of the United States of America, who was one of my favorite bands when I was in high school. They sang Lump and Peaches. So not only am I listening to a kid singer, but I'm listening to Presidents of the United States of America.
Yes, now, and it's Casper is Caspar.
Caspar Baby Pants. Yep, check him out.
YouTube, he's got a YouTube channel, cute videos. I think Michael and I enjoy him more than Carmen does. No, and she loves him. So you can only imagine how much Michael and I love him.
Yep. But this is really getting into a longer story than I wanted it to be. But I took Carmen to a year ago, a baby lap sit program at the library where all the babies come and they sit in your lap and they like read a book and they sing songs and dance and all that kind of stuff. And they played a song and I was like, man, that song is pretty fun and cool. And I thought in the back of my head, I know that voice from somewhere. Like, that sounds really familiar. So it took me a couple of times to ask who the singer was, and it was Casper Baby Pants. So I looked him up and looked up Casper Baby Pants, and it comes up that he was the lead singer of the Presidents of the United States of America. So I went to his website, and you can email him. So I emailed him. I was like, hey, you know what? I'm so happy that that my daughter is able to listen to you and like your songs and as much as she does. I liked you when you were in Presidents. You were my favorite band. It's just kind of a really neat connection that I have with my daughter. And he wrote me back. And he was like, oh, Mike, thanks for that so much. It's great. That's a great story. I'm really happy to do all this music. He's like, and really, it's the same music as with the presidents of the United States of America, but with less innuendo. And that's exactly what he said. And it's true.
Yeah.
When he's singing about bugs and cats, he's singing about bugs and cats when he's singing to kids.
Do you remember what the song was at the lap set that you first heard of his?
It was Run, Baby, Run.
Run, Baby, Run, which is her favorite.
Yeah.
And she runs around the house. My favorite is Jellyfish Jones. So for those of you who have kids, or if you don't, go check out Jellyfish Jones by Casper Baby Pants. It's like my favorite song in the world. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do like it though. So that is not our Carmen's Corner. We're not even there yet, but that is a good tip because if you're so busy, like, there's subscriptions like, ABC Mouse Club and all that kind of stuff that you can pay for every month. Casper Baby Pants YouTube channel. It's free. You put it on. It's got videos. She runs around the house. She sings. She dances. It is amazing entertainment. So that is actually a really good cost savings tip. Who knew? We weren't even planning to talk about that.
There you go. But let's talk about buying Christmas. I say Christmas, but any type of present for your kids. And we say Christmas, but it could be anything. But we have a saying, which is, and I'll talk about it first, but you can kind of talk about the reasoning behind it. But we say, buy something that they want, something that they need, something to wear, and something to read.
Yeah. So the idea here is, every year Carmen will walk down the stairs on Christmas morning and see 4 presents under the tree. So we don't have this, feeling or, obligation every year to have more and more and more. And I always think about the Harry Potter movie where, what's the cousin's name?
Is it Dudley?
Dudley, something like that. Somebody will correct us, I'm sure. It's his birthday, I think. And he says, no, there's not 101 gifts. There should be 102 because I had 101 last year and that kind of thing. And so what you're trying to do is prevent that sort of scenario from happening. And so the idea is that there's 4 gifts. We do it in that order. I've also have some clients or heard of another way of doing it, which is, 3 gifts, something from Santa, something from parents, and something from siblings if they've got siblings. So that's also another really good way. They expect 3 gifts. It doesn't matter about the dollar amount or how big or how grand the gift is. It's like, here's the 3 gifts. So that's something that I feel like is just one approach to making the holidays memorable and wonderful, and yet not about more. So that is our Carmen's Corner tip, just one way of approaching the holidays. If you've got young kids and you don't have a tradition yet, or even if you've got some older kids, this is a good approach too.
Yep. We like it. It's fun. It makes it fun for us to actually try to narrow down everything that we want to buy from those 4 categories. So it's pretty fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. All right, everybody. We made it. We're done. We're going to get out of your earwaves. And we will talk to you next week. Check out Saver and the Spender podcast Facebook group. Check out Financial Coaches Unite. We got the Meal Prep Challenge coming up. Financial Coach Academy is coming up, starts February 1st. Regular pricing starts January 1st. So you have that early bird code to save some money if you love to help people with their money. And workshops coming up January 6th. So check those out. Lexi says another band that she likes when their kids were 1 and 3 where they might be giants, which I actually like too. They sing, Istanbul was Constantinople, and that was Istanbul, not that one, and Triangle Man. You didn't know I knew that, Lexi, though, did you?
Oh, Lord. What have you done, Lexi?
Yep.
I am not going to sing Jellyfish Jones.
Okay.
Let's just say really fast that anytime I sing, Carmen says, no, mommy, no. And I am a terrible singer, and that's why she does it. That's what
she does do that every time.
I cannot sing, and yet I still continue to do it, and my daughter tells me no. So anyway,
yep.
I'm better with money than I am singing. Let's just leave it at that.
Yep. On that note, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.